And we're back. Some of my pills spilled out all over the bottom of my bag, which I didn't realize until minutes before I was set to go to bed last night. I spent quite a bit of time scraping them out of my luggage. By the time I get up, I'm already starting the day with a migraine from a combination of trouble falling asleep and waking up late. When I step into the living room, Hideaki is there finishing up his breakfast, his fork raised midway to his mouth. He seems unsure whether he should continue eating or greet me. Maybe I should check back out of the room. Good morning. Morning. What do you think we should have for breakfast? Aren't you eating breakfast right now? Yes, everyone else ate already. Now, despite that, he repeats his question again. He's just trying to be nice. It's an odd way to show it, but I appreciate it nonetheless, and I am feeling pretty hungry. Try to make some conversation with him while I'm getting my breakfast to fill in the silence. That fishing trip yesterday was fun. Do the Hakamichis and Satos often get together like that? Not really. I see. I don't really. There's a brief pause before Hideaki deigns to fill me in a little more. Family issues. Our fathers are brothers and do not like each other. Hearing that gives me plenty to think about. It puts the way Shizune and Lily deal with each other into context and makes me even more wary of getting involved. Family issues can be troublesome. Hideaki simply nods as I sit at the table with my breakfast. I wish he were a little easier to converse with. While I'm eating, I notice that the house seems oddly quiet for a place with Misha in it. If Shizune and Misha ate breakfast already, it can't be because they're asleep. I ask Hideaki where they are. Shizune and Misha left to run some errands for our dad. The local business people love dealing with Misha, so he insisted. Well, she's got a nice and cheerful personality. I can see why they would. Maybe you should start taking lessons from her. You can increase your business connections. Are you serious? He sounds serious. I don't know what kind of business connections a little kid would need. Maybe he wants to have the best bake sale fundraiser ever. It's a shame I'll eventually have to leave here and won't be able to see whatever he is planning. Wonder what kind of person Shizune's dad is, again, other than relatively outdoorsy. What I know so far is that he asks his business partners and friends of his daughter to do favors for him. I'm assuming he's extremely shy or extremely lazy. Maybe it's rude to call. It's a rude call to make so early, but it would certainly explain a large chunk of Shizune's personality. Do you want to go anywhere? Not really. Why do you? I thought there might be somewhere you would want to go. You don't want to do some sightseeing or eat at a specific restaurant? No, I've never been here before. I see. I was just about to ask him about what Shizune was like when she was younger, but he's managed to sidetrack me with just one question. This appears to be as awkward a conversation for him as it is for me. You're sure eager to please today? Why are you being so nice? Are you showing your secret nice side now that your sister isn't around? You're sort of right. Shizune wanted me to keep you company today. I want to trouble him and try to make him see that, but Hideaki's as stubborn as his sister and feels as if this is his duty. He also seems to be earnestly trying to be nice. Quickly, I start to realize that Hideaki's idea of fun is fishing, collecting cameras, and making esoteric puns. Fishing is fun, but it's something I would rather do than discuss. Same goes for cameras. I'd rather handle them than collect them. This is something Hideaki picks up on himself. Are you bored? I'm not bored at all. I almost yawned the word, so Hideaki ignores it entirely. You are bored. Shizune said to be entertaining, and I think I don't know how to do that. I am entertained. You don't sound entertained. I am. Why do you yell? I hope you do not yell so much around Shizune. It's hard to tell if he's joking. Either way, I'm a bit surprised. I try to play it off and change the subject. Do you just collect cameras, or are you into photography too? Not really. If I did, there would be more photos in the house than there currently are. What is there to take pictures of? I don't know. Birds, architecture, one of those restaurants you were talking about. I thought the city had tons of cool stuff. How can you live in a place with so much to do and do nothing? I thought you didn't know what there was to do here. Suddenly you have many ideas and are an authority on how interesting it is. You're like our board of tourism. Do you want to go watch birds or buildings? Okay, no need to get so mad. I'm not mad. I just think that if you feel so strongly about it, then we should go to an amusement park. Why? So you can be amused. It'll be fun. Will he have this same flat, unfun expression on his face while we're riding roller coasters and drop towers? It would sure bring the fun levels down. The thought does not convince me that it's worth a trip. I don't know, it always sounded to me like going to an amusement park meant you spend more time waiting in lines and actually doing stuff. You'd have to go earlier than this just to skip the lines. Have you ever been to one? No, but it seems like that's what it's like. Fine, what about a regular park? There's one nearby that Shizune likes to go to. Maybe she'll be there and I can unload you onto her. What do you mean unload? I'm not luggage. You want to go to an amusement park? I don't know what to do. He looks as though I've hurt his feelings by refusing to go with him. I'm already rationalizing my decision. I don't like waiting in line, so it would be too much like a date. I'd rather go with Shizune. It would be too tiring. Something personal, just that I kind of wanted Shizune to show me around town instead. I don't think that with my condition going to an amusement park would be such a hot idea. I didn't even think about that. The park is close enough that their property could almost be considered an extension of it. Both it and Shizune's backyard look about the same, except that the park has benches and more people. That said, it's quite nice. There are even people out walking their dogs and children flying kites that can be seen lazily drifting back and forth over trees in the distance. I could sit here in a relaxing and scenic place like this forever. Hideaki, on the other hand, looks like he's extremely bored. I want to poke him to see if he's still alive, but would he react either way? Are you bored? No, are you gonna jog or play frisbee with dogs like everyone else? Is that what people do in parks? Well, we go to parks to get back to nature and enjoy the atmosphere. That's why you jog in the park instead of just on the sidewalk or something. You can jog anywhere. I can't believe I'm having this conversation. How can you not know this? You shouldn't have brought that up. It's too weird. Haven't you ever heard of children should be seen, not heard? Yes. I lied. I'm bored. Would you like to play a game? I groan audibly enough to hope that he understands I don't want to. He doesn't care. In fact, he's already toying with a deck of playing cards. Why are you upset? This is why we're here. I thought we were here to look for Shizune. Exactly, that's why we should play a game. It's a Shizune trap. You can trap anything, including people. If we compete against each other in the spirit of competition and a sportsmanly manner, she will be drawn here to challenge the winner like a shark. Then I will defeat her like a safari hunter and take a photo of the award ceremony. Sharks do not go around challenging people to games of chance like dojo breakers. When did you bring that camera? Anyway, no, I get enough games hanging out with your sister. No, come on, it'll be fun. We can play chess. Please no. Besides, playing chess in the park is something old people do, like fishing. You're gonna get old too fast if you keep doing this old man stuff. Hideaki freezes like I've suddenly started speaking a foreign language. Maybe I've offended him again. Maybe he's secretly 50 years old and has just aged incredibly well. Him being Shizune's brother could be a cover story. What about checkers or Go, or even backgammon is fine. Even though I don't like it, if board games aren't your thing, we can play card games, anything other than 7 card, because it is for wimps. Are you afraid that you'll lose? If you can beat me, I'll give you candy. Hideaki, you're just like Shizune. I'm starting to think this is all a pretense to play games. No, that is not true. You are. I bet that competitive streak is genetic. I'll sell you to science. No one can own a human being. How about I teach you some sign language instead? When Shizune asked me if I wanted to come here, we talked a little. It seemed like you and your dad don't use sign language. I'm just guessing, but if you don't, I could teach you some. I'm not a master at it, though. I think it might be good for you to move your arms more anyway. He barely moves his arms. Most of the time they just hang limply at his sides. How unnerving. It's been bothering me that Shizune's entire family apparently doesn't know how to sign. I wonder what she did before she met Misha. Did they just hire translators for her? Did she write out everything on that pad she carries around? The second is the most likely, or she could just type it out on a phone, and that would explain why she dislikes using the pad so much. Sad as it is, I can sort of see why Hideaki or her dad might not have bothered to learn sign language. Probably was too much of a hassle at the time. It's very easy to think that. From what I've seen so far, though, neither of them hold it against each other or are too badly affected by it. Could be that I'm overthinking the situation. Come on. Well, to be honest, I'm still learning sign language myself. I brought all my books along with me so I can keep up, you know? Still, I can at least teach you the alphabet. It's pretty simple. This is kite. I feel really corny right now, and even more so when Hideaki stares back at me blankly as if the entire concept of learning is alien to him. Shizune like flying kites here as well. This is an attempt to salvage the conversation, and I'm happy to oblige. Fishing and now kites, too. Shizune really likes all these relaxing hobbies. Hideaki freezes as Misha appears behind him and puts her hands over his eyes. Hi, guess who? He seemed to finally be loosening up, too. Hi, Misha. Is Shizune with you? Hichan, no spoilers. Don't spoil. Don't ruin the surprise, okay? Misha. Bingo, that's right, but it was too easy somehow. I don't know what she means by somehow. That stupid shirt. Too many people can tell it's me. I want to surprise someone. I thought for sure that Hideaki would be fooled. Why weren't you, You're the only person who does that, you and kidnappers. Really? Why do you laugh? Are you giving his out trouble? I thought you would take him somewhere more exciting than the park. It isn't even that far from home. You're so lazy. Hideaki, are you giving Hichan trouble? You should have taken him somewhere more exciting. The park is too close to home. Shichan says you're lazy. Well, you wanted to come here. Why are you so argumentative? I have to keep my little brother in line. What is she saying? You must be kept in line. Really? They're ready to go at each other's throats this quickly. On one hand, I've heard that siblings fighting so much isn't uncommon, and the fact that they fight at all proves that there has to be some level of communication going on, so it's nice to get along. They argue all the way back home. Misha translates for Shizune and I for Hideaki, so it looks more like we're the ones arguing instead, except not really. Nobody could listen to Misha and believe that. The day got entertaining in the end, at least. That's all they did all day? That is such a boring day. Despite having only been here for 2 days, it feels like it's been much longer. I wake up feeling more tired than refreshed, maybe because I've been moving around almost constantly since I got here. Well, shouldn't you be used to moving around by now, that you had to put up, make all those stands and stuff, all those stalls and stuff? Whatever the reason, it's making me get up unusually late each day. I like sleeping in, but it could be inconvenient if it ends up becoming a habit. I can hear a deep male voice shouting loudly in the background. It must be Shizune's dad, or maybe with the size of this place, it's creditors. More likely the former, since the yelling doesn't seem angry, just loud. What in the world? Okay. Shizune, Misha, and Hideaki are sitting in the living room having a one-sided conversation with a giant bear man who alternates between shoveling away fruit from a plate balanced on his leg and twirling a sword. Why does he have a sword? Why does he look like that? Okay. He looks like he should be in a shonen anime. From what Shizune and Hideaki are like, I'd expect their dad to be very reserved, clean-cut, possibly an androgynous person, so I'm pretty surprised. I'm surprised for a while until he starts talking to me. Hello, you must be Shizune's other friend. Did you have a good night's rest? The guest rooms are a bit sparse. If there's anything you need, feel free to tell me. No, thanks. You must be Shizune's father. It's nice to meet you. I'm Shizune's classmate, Hizao Nakai. The pleasure is mine. I've wanted to meet you after hearing that I would have a second guest at my house. Unexpected. You hear something like that, and obviously you want to see what the person is like. Would you like my business card? He holds up a case full of them. For a second, and I can see his name is Jigoro, and his office hours are from 8 to 6. They also say that he's a consultant. What a prepared guy, carrying his card case around in his own home. We're just sitting down to a slightly late lunch. You're just in time to join us. Good. Pick a place to sit down. I'll bring you a plate. I hope you don't mind eating bear liver. I thought that bear liver was toxic. Either way, the thought of eating a bear liver doesn't appeal to me, other than for the ability to tell people I've eaten bear liver. I suppose it wouldn't hurt to try it, but Shizune's dad merely laughs. I'm just making a joke, although maybe it wouldn't be such a bad idea to cook up some bear livers for you kids. They'll make you strong. We're actually having omelets. I'll make you one right now. Is that unusual for you having an omelet for lunch? Very unusual. No, not at all. Jigoro vanishes to where the kitchen must be. I'm surprised that despite living in this place, he has to cook my lunch. Maybe he only cooks because he likes to. My steaming plate of food is done in a very short time. It smells really good. Are you in the student council like Shizune? Is student council that busy that Shizune has to drag her friends along with her everywhere she goes? Sometimes a vacation is just a vacation. You're right about the student council part. I think we're just here for the fun, though. I see, is that right? When I was younger, student councils had so much work that I didn't think we could have afforded going on vacation. Must be nice having so much free time. Should give you plenty of time to think about your future. I do not like the direction of this discussion is taken, and start thinking about how to avoid it. Have you thought about that? About what you want to do? No, I haven't given it much thought recently. What do you do, if you don't mind me asking? It must be pretty cool if you can get you a house like this. Why do you want to know that? Children aren't interested in business. What business of yours is my business? Suspicious. Are you some kind of tax man, boy? Guess he really does not like being asked questions. Hee-chan isn't a tax collector's boy, I think. Hee-chan, what do your parents do? You never told us. You be quiet. Don't interrupt me. I hate being interrupted. Rude. Shizune doesn't look too happy with this turn of events. Even with Misha unable to sign to her what's going on, she can read the mood easily. Her glare becomes more smoldering as Jigoro continues to rant. One more thing, my fishing equipment. I came home and it was just in a big pile in the corner. Rods just stacked haphazardly on top of tackle. That was me. Can't remember if it actually was him. If it wasn't, I appreciate that he was willing to take one for the team. It doesn't matter because Jigoro ignores him without skipping a beat. Well, anyway, I'm glad that my fishing equipment provides so much entertainment for my daughter's friends. Did not even tell me you're going to be using them. Those are expensive, custom-made poles, not for dilettantes. Okay. I suddenly become more aware of the eggshell fragments in my omelet. Is he just a bad cook? Does he eat them for the calcium? Were they purposely added there to give me even more discomfort? Though confused, I'm not as unnerved as I think I would normally be. Then again, my life has been pretty strange lately, and I keep running into all sorts of different people. Nothing surprises me anymore. Didn't even properly clean them after use. Terrible. Do you even know how to fish? Unlikely. There are not enough poles here for all of you. How does that work? Did you all share? One person baits the hook and another casts? Two people are real incompetent. Well, 6 of us went, and we couldn't do it all at the same time. First it was just me, Akila, Hideaki, and Misha. Stop talking, that sounds unspeakably dirty. I have had enough of your filth. How vulgar. Make sure that your statements are not so embarrassingly, carelessly worded next time. What? What? You're so disrespectful. Amazing. All the delinquent types like this. Even the way you dress shows flippant disregard for authority. Sweater vest, disgraceful. Delinquent? I'm on the student council. I'm hurt by his comment on my sweater vest, especially when it's coming from a guy in such a tacky shirt. Guess I can't really say anything, though. He has a sword. He might also kill bears. Misha loudly puts her plate down on the table. That was delicious. Shi-chan and I are done now. He-chan, you are too, right? We should get going. What a simple yet effective exit strategy. Barely have time to put down my plate before they pull me up and out of there, and finally outside. Unbelievable. It's like I'm really watching an interrogation. This is not a cop show. Guests definitely have responsibilities. But hasn't he ever heard of being a gracious host? Really? Misha attempts to sloppily mimic Shizune's angry, chopping gestures as best as she can. She has the expression down too, but the tone of her voice is the same as ever, thus lacking the anger necessary to bring it all together. Don't take it too hard. Shi-chan's dad always does this to everyone. I think it's a joke. That was the most aggressive joke possible. I'm also not at all convinced it was a joke, considering this hastily staged retreat, but this isn't a good moment to discuss how Shizune's father might be a jerk. Hi-chan, let's go shopping. You haven't been to town yet, have you? It'll be fun. We can see the sights and go to an amusement park, maybe eat at a good restaurant. We just had lunch, even though I didn't eat much. It's okay, in that case we just have to make sure that today is so busy that by the time we're done, it'll be time for dinner. Works out perfectly. Come on, Hi-chan. They immediately flank me and hook my arms with theirs, Shizune taking one arm and Misha taking the other. At first we almost trip over each other. Shizune walks at a very brisk pace and Misha has an unusually bouncy way of moving around. Get the hang of it soon enough, and I notice we're going to town by cutting through the park. It doesn't seem efficient, so I guess this is the scenic route. Walking this way hinders how we can communicate with each other significantly. I can't talk to Shizune at all. Shizune and Misha are down to one-handed gestures only. Feels nice though, so I don't mind too much. Want to make a crack about it to Misha, she responds with mild confusion. Really, Hi-chan? If you really want Shizune's attention, you can tell me and then I can tap her on the shoulder for you. You can just let me go and I'll do it myself. How are you going to tap her on the shoulder from over there? Like this. She suddenly stops in her tracks roughly and then tries to reach behind her back and cross my shoulder to get Shizune's attention. She succeeds, but only because when Misha stopped I had to as well or we'd all fall over. Obviously, Shizune had to jerk to a halt too. The sight makes Misha let out one of her characteristic laughs, which shakes us around more, and Shizune starts flailing her free hand to get her to stop, which only causes her to laugh harder. It is pretty funny to watch her get so flustered, and I can start laughing too. Oh, okay. What did they do all day? Okay, I guess we're just going to the next day. Okay. I've been neglecting my sign language activities, so I should probably spend some time studying up on it, although I think I've learned a lot just by osmosis. I'm very proud of that, and I'll have to be careful not to brag about it. Most of the books I brought with me aren't manuals on learning sign language, but studies about different signing dialects. I know Shizune has some secret signals. With Misha, only 2 of them know the meaning of. After seeing a couple of them, this book caught my eye in the school's library. Maybe I should incorporate some examples into my own signing to mess with them, because I'm pretty sure that they have started using their code words more when I started learning sign language, and I'll teach them. After a quick break for a shower, I resumed practicing my signing. In the guest room mirror yesterday, I crashed my fingers against each other pretty hard. It's still smarts. God, I hate that term so much for hurts, and I don't want a repeat of that to happen again. I hear knocking on the door behind me and turn to find Hideaki standing inside the door, staring at me. How polite of him to knock, but usually you don't open the door first. What are you doing? I'm practicing sign language. How long have you been standing there? I did not see anything. That isn't the point. I don't even know what he means by that. It's not like I was doing something that would be ashamed to have people see me doing. Although sign language must look strange to most people, I'm only used to it from being around Shizune and Misha so much. I'm brushing up on my sign language and reading about it too, stuff like the history of it, even though they covered it in sign language class. Your school teaches sign language as a class. Yeah, one of the first things they brought up was that it's not very common to do that. I guess we're very international or something. It looks fun. Well, I wouldn't call it fun. If you don't enjoy this, it seems like a lot of work to go through just to talk to my sister. Why does everyone keep saying that? Hideaki's mouth twitches like he was about to laugh, but he restrains himself. Come to think of it, he hasn't laughed once since I've met him. I could take it as a compliment that he doesn't laugh at me, but I'm curious to see it. Laugh. Why? It was the fastest and most direct way I could think of towards accomplishing my goal. Can you teach me sign language? He says it plainly, but his body language is nervous, showing that he clearly needs to put some effort in to ask. I guess Hideaki likes his sister after all. I think Misha is a lot more approachable, though, so I wonder why he didn't ask her. Secretly, I'm shouting yes inside. I had thought he wanted to learn sign language. I had thought he wanted to learn sign language and even brought it up, but he had evaded the subject skillfully. Turns out I was right after all. I don't really know why this makes me so pleased. Yeah, sure. Now I think about it, I'm not really a sign language teacher. I don't even know where to start. In class, I'd be learning stuff gradually over a week. Does Hideaki expect me to teach him anything usable in a one-day crash course? My teacher spent a couple of days just giving a history of sign language. I decided to start off with that to buy some time while I figure out how I can segue it into the hard stuff. 5 minutes in, Hideaki raises his hand. I don't understand what you're doing. Oh, well, you can't just jump into teaching, you know? You have to ease into it. It's like when you go swimming. You don't just jump in the lake like in some movie. I do not swim. It's like scientists managed to create a process to suck out all the hyperactive, infuriating, and childish qualities of a small child and then planted them into the dad, creating a raging jerk dad and leaving behind Hideaki. I begin to feel claustrophobic, despite the fact the guest room is 3 times bigger than my dorm room and just 2 of us in here. It's all in my head, I know it, and I don't care. I still use it as an excuse to move the lesson outside. Oh, dang. It's a lot easier to concentrate out here. Even the precious few seconds it took to relocate managed to allow me to sort my thoughts. There were no questions during this time. Hideaki can't seem to talk and walk at the same time. Eventually, however, I start to realize that if I'm going to teach him anything, I have to keep the lesson constantly moving. The second there's an opening for it, he'll ask a question, which will lead to more questions, and then there's no end to it. The second time he asks me why a certain hand motion means what it does, and I have to reach deep into my memory to look for an etymology. I don't know about a gesture I only knew about a month longer than him. I start looking for it out. Hideaki, let's take a break. Okay. What is your school like? Oh, this kid is like a little reporter, but it makes sense for someone his age to be curious, and this is one question I don't mind. What's it like? I never really thought about it. It's on top of this mountain, so it feels kind of isolated and lonely up there sometimes, even though that's also why it has a pretty great view. Students they're interesting. Actually, I felt bad at first. You know what kind of school it is, right? Yes. I felt bad because I didn't want to go there. I don't even remember exactly what I was thinking at the time. Probably it was something like a school for crippled people would be a depressing place. They were telling me to go to be forgotten there. Then everyone there was just living their lives for the most part, so I felt even worse. It wasn't different at all, so I felt kind of like a jerk. Susan was the first person I met. She's in most of my classes, Misha too. They're almost together. I guess the school is accommodating enough to pair them up as much as possible. There's this girl in my class, Hanako, whom I feel bad for. She has these burns and seems to have a complex about them. But I think she looks fine. She's a cute girl and friends with Lily too. You know Lily, right? Does she bring up Hanako? Yeah, sometimes. I'm trying to remember who else is interesting. We have a little track star ace who runs on these prosthetics. There's this one girl, Rin, who doesn't have arms, but she's a great painter. All her art has this harsh, alive quality. Have you ever been to Yamaku? You've probably seen some of it hanging around. A little weird sometimes, but I've always heard that artistic and creative types are like that. That reminds me, the guy who lives across the hall from me is pretty weird too, but he can be interesting at least. You're also interesting. Is that bad? And what's with that tone? What does that even mean? Are you saying I'm weird, Hideaki? You talk a lot. My first instinct is to go on the defensive, but the more I think about it, he has a point. That's right, I do talk a lot. I don't think I used to. I think it's probably because of all the time I spend around Shizune and Misha talking with them. I get caught up in their circular logic and just how they do everything. I feel like I'm gonna be drowned out or left behind. My sister can drown you out. It's not like she's literally taking over me and stuff, obviously. It's hard to explain. They have more energy than I do. It's like an aggressiveness. I don't feel like I have to match it, but I want to. I think maybe your sister has that effect on people. Do you look up to your sister? He stares at me blankly, tense and confused as to how to react to the question. I will be better than Shizune. Better at what? At everything. Like what? I can do magic tricks. You mean like telling people you've got their nose, or more like the kind of magic where you pull a rabbit out of your ass? He doesn't look happy. Someday I'll see Hideaki laugh. I might just try tickling him if I have to. The back door flies open and Jigoro strides out of it, keeping his back straight and taking giant, slow, regal strides like either a king or a huge jackass. try to turn away using the train of logic that if I can't see him, he can't see me. Unfortunately, it doesn't pan out, and he comes over so fast. It's like he appeared out of the air over my shoulder. Oh, what's up here? What are you two doing, flailing your hands around, playing cat's cradle like a bunch of girls? I'm teaching Hideaki some sign language. What about you, Mr. Hakamichi? He narrows his eyes suspiciously, as if he's not used to people being polite to him. I'm writing an autobiography of my life and times. By writing, I mean I am dictating it to my biographer. Unfortunately, she is running late. Unprofessional. Perhaps you should read it when it is published later this year. I can put you on the waiting list. Maybe it'll give you the moral compass you seem to lack in your life and inspire you to stop sucking. Like, I thought people always wrote autobiographies on their own. Like, wouldn't it be really boring to have your job be listen to other people talk about their lives and then write it down? It can't be sustainable for him to be so casually insulting to everyone. Though Hideaki is likely too detached to even notice, Shisune is deaf and most of the insults must fly over Misha's head, but surely Akira must have an opinion on this. Try not to think about it. If he is doing this to psych me out, then I have to stay calm or he wins. He must absolutely, definitely not win. This must be how Shisune feels. How old are you? 46. That doesn't seem old enough to justify writing a biography. I mean, that's not even old. Don't most people start writing their memoirs a lot later than that? Shut up, boy. I'm going to give you advice. Do not talk about matters of age with people older than you. You're less than half my age. You have no right to talk about old. I have an ulcer older than you. You should get that checked out. He might have a point, though. He is definitely older than I am. Either way, even if we're the same age, I wouldn't have to explain myself to you, sweater vest. Ugh. Why do you make that noise? Are you mad? Well, obviously. Good. Your sweater is terrible, and I want you to feel bad about it. The burn tells me it's working. I like my sweater. I'm sure you like huffing glue, too. That doesn't make it right. I don't huff glue. Where did you get the impression I do? That is slander. I wonder how Hideaki knows what slander is. Maybe Jigoro is a lawyer. I can sort of see that, although I thought only TV lawyers are this antagonistic. I don't know if I should take the chance to ask if that's his job. Oh, he's right. It is slander. Are you a lawyer? I was guessing. I guess based on the fact that you are stupid, it's like how you are assuming I'm a lawyer, except you have no reason to think that. If you want to know what I do so badly, why don't you pre-order my autobiography? Now you're insulting my book, and by extension my entire life. What gives you the right to do that, arrogant? I'm trying to think of how I can make you understand my struggle, maybe by beating you with my autobiography. I hope you walk away from the beating having learned a valuable lesson, like not making assumptions. Assault. But he made an assumption, too, that I huffed glue. I consider calling him out on this glaring example of hypocrisy, but I don't think it's worth it. He would probably explain his way out by saying, "Shut up, boy." Back in my day, children were seen and not heard, and to be an adult meant having experienced many hardships. With even a glance, people could instantly judge a man's character. Childhood existed only to temper you for adulthood. When you look at me, can you not see the catalog of my experiences even at a glance? Maybe. Were you a sword fighter? He could also be Hawaiian and a werewolf. He kind of looks like Big B from The Wolf Among Us. Well, didn't you tell me before not to make assumptions? Now you just asked me to assume stuff. And you're saying everyone when you were my age did it, and that had to be like the 80s. That wasn't even that long ago. I'm ready to give him a piece of my mind for talking like he had to walk 15 miles in the snow to ride a coal train, that he had to shovel coal into himself before climbing up a mountain while fighting ogres to get to school. But now that I finally want to fight, Jigoro is happy to have a good thing going. Jigoro is happy to have a good thing going, just continuing to ramble about how difficult it was growing up one generation ago, twirling his sword like a baton and stopping occasionally to yawn or check the time. The tardiness of his autobiographer is still foremost in his mind. That means that the whole time he's been insulting me, he must have been doing it just to pass the time. To add insult to insult, his watch is also really nice. When I was your age, kids had responsibilities, not like today, sickening. No one thinks about the consequences of their actions anymore. They just do whatever they want, thinking no one will hold them accountable since they're young. It's odd the description could fit Shisune and Misha. I thought something similar only yesterday, but it only fits them slightly. Look at yourself, an immoral, directionless, delinquent glue huffer with a complete lack of etiquette and absolutely no fashion sense. You are tomorrow's Japan, disgraceful. Is this the future of this once great country? I know someone you would get along well with. Don't interrupt. Who? One of your friends? Why would I want to talk to some awful teenager? Have you ever been listening? Why are you so rude, boy? Your attitude is not one that will make you a lot of friends. I wish you would stop giving me so much advice. Or at least I wish you would give me advice that would have the decency to adhere to himself. Where have you been? Huh? Not you, idiot. Oh, I didn't notice you there. Shizune smiles and gives a short wave. Her arrival made Jigoro stop talking, so I'm already happy to see her for that reason alone. Misha and I decided to go into town again. Hizao, I noticed you were looking at some clothes yesterday in the store window, and I thought I would go back and buy some of them for you. It was supposed to be a surprise, though. She looks annoyed that the surprise is ruined, even though she ruined it herself. Here you go. Oh, thanks. Misha wanted to cut her hair. I told her not to, but she said it was too hot for the summer. Yeah, I don't know. It makes a lot of sense to me. It must be like an oven under there. I want to see it. Where is Misha, anyway? Over here. Hi, Hichan. Hi, Mr. Shichan's father. Hi, Hideaki. Well, at least she doesn't have her drills anymore. I actually like that more. Misha runs around us once in a wide circle before stopping next to Shizune. For the first time, she hasn't put her hands over my eyes, although now I see she has bags of her own to carry, so it's not like she could have, even if she wanted to, although I am positive she's tried before. Her meticulously styled curls are gone now in favor of a much shorter, sportier look. Misha looks even happier than usual, probably because she knows she won't have to wake up at the crack of dawn every morning just to do her hair. Oh, what is that haircut? You look like an intern. Your old haircut merely made you look like you were wearing a pink judge wig. Judge to intern is a huge demotion. Hizao, is he saying something insulting? Tell him to not insult my friends. Don't insult my friends. Which one of you is talking? Both of us, I agree with her. What do you think, Hichan? I like it. You should have kept it like it was. No, I don't like the drills. Hichan, you look so disappointed. You don't like it either? Well, yeah, I kind of admit I liked your old haircut more, but I think this one is nice too. It suits you. Fucking weird, Hizao. I almost called him Hichan. Thanks, Hichan. Touching. If you like it so much, maybe you should trade. You can't trade a haircut. What a shame. Even her old haircut would suit you much more than your current slacker haircut. Awful as for you. And actually, this is much less garish than your older haircut. I like it. Really? Thanks, Mr. Shizune's dad. It's Mr. Hakamichi. Talk like a normal person. I don't understand. Okay, I'll call you Mr. Hakamichi. It's like speaking to a slide whistle. Okay. Contemptible. Jeez, I cannot read that word. Where's my biographer, Hideaki? He starts quietly muttering to himself and walks off. I guess a wannabe cranky old man like Jigoro would be at the very least be hesitant to yell at girls. Suddenly he doubles back, unable to resist his urge to have the last word. And another thing, you do not have to be so loud. I'm not like being shouted at. What, shouting? I'm not shouting. Can't think of anyone more unqualified to talk about what's garish or to chastise someone else on shouting at people. It's like a parade of hypocrisies, and the hits just keep coming. An unusual reaction seems to be taking place. Misha apparently finds Jigoro funny and laughs pretty much every time he says something, which only makes him berate her harder. Guess this is what they call a vicious circle. Misha's voice is punctuated with explosions of laughter and seem to come from everywhere. On the other hand, Jigoro's is booming and directed at like a cannon. In any case, they're both unbelievably loud. The more they talk to each other, the more they seem to play off each other's volume and get louder. My ears hurt. Why are you shouting? Shizune's hands wrap around my eyes from behind, something I'm so used to Misha doing that for the first time I found myself confused by it since Misha is in front of me. She lets go and holds a finger up to her lips. What a perfect distraction. Now's our opportunity. Let's sneak off. Why do we have to sneak off? Why not just walk off? It wouldn't be as fun. It's decided. It's a secret mission. Escape without being detected. Extract Hideaki for bonus points. Already she has simplified the situation into a game. Shizune quietly slides away from the scene and begins edging towards the house. I walk towards it normally. I can't find Shizune at first, but eventually she walks into the main part of the house, sipping a glass of ice water and dangling her glasses back and forth from her free hand. She whips them on as soon as she sees me. Oh, you didn't rescue Hideaki. That means you didn't get the bonus points. If you were also being graded on style, I would have to just deduct points for a boring escape. Looked like you wanted to talk to me. I didn't know I had to be stylish about it. You know, some say that the most stylish people are the ones that don't try too hard to look cool. You're really cool. I wonder how it is I can pick up on her sarcasm so easily, and how hard it might have been for her to learn the concept of sarcasm without being able to hear. I can't imagine it. Oh, you seem like you're in a good mood. I guess it isn't really a good mood, it's more that she seems very excited. I'm in a bad mood. Setting her drink down, Shizune sits on the couch. I liked her regular hairstyle so much. It looked so pretty. It was refined and meticulous. Okay. Now she looks too sporty and tomboyish. That's what I like about it. I wouldn't call Misha refined and meticulous. That sounds more like you. You should give it a chance. Grow your hair out and make it look like drills. Actually, maybe this suits you just fine. Shizune rubs the frame of her glasses, roughly looking annoyed at the implications behind what I just signed her. That's fine, because I was totally implying that. She moves a little closer to me when I take a seat. I'm a tomboy? Well, no one will call you a tomboy, based on appearances. Shizune glares at me, unamused. I have to fight to keep a straight face. Maybe you two should trade haircuts anyway. You sound like my father. It's true, Shizune giggles noiselessly when she sees my displeasure at the realization. Jumping to her feet, she twirls an invisible sword in her left hand while standing up, militarily straight and grimacing. Terrifyingly accurate impression. Anyway, I don't take advice from anyone who wears a blue sweater with brown pants. What's your sense of color and coordination? Dreadful. But changing my haircut, that might be fun, wouldn't it be? I want to see how everyone would react. You must really like playing with people. Sometimes I think a little too much. No answer. The way she fiddles with her glasses, brow furrowed, tells me it's because she can't. It's fun. Then with more confidence and while pulling herself closer to me. It's fun to drag more and more people into my life. Oh, I see. Wonder if I'm included in that number. I want to ask, but I'm not even sure how I would. Shizune wags a finger preemptively, indicating that she won't be answering such a question anyway. She reaches for her glass, but doesn't seem to realize how far she's managed to inch away from it. All this time to prevent herself from tipping over clumsily, Shizune tries to grab onto me and ends up pulling me on top of her. Oh, what an anime situation. As I lean over her, I can feel the heat coming off her body and realize how close we are. I can hear her soft breathing and the slight rustling of her clothes as she momentarily fidgets about. At least I don't have to worry about anything bad happening here because everyone's just like standing outside. The blush starts creeping into her cheeks, but her eyes stare straight into mine, dark and unblinking. It's the same look from the first time I saw her, piercing and devoid of any clear emotions, just waiting to see what will happen next, like the eyes of a cat. Makes me uncomfortable being looked at in such a way. It's the first time I've been so close to her for an extended period of time, and the mood is different now. The situation now isn't the same as a passing touching of hands or her and Misha's usual games. Shizune's fingers weave together tentatively, but she makes no move to sign. The look in her eyes isn't just nothing, like I thought. It's more like expectation. I wonder if maybe she's been following the string of her expectations this entire time. I feel her grabbing me by the shoulders and then gently but firmly pushing me off of her. I roll sideways onto the soft couch and pull myself into a sitting position less than a foot from her. The way I feel, she might as well have thrown me 10 yards. When I think about it, this is perhaps one of the biggest drawbacks of sign language. Shizune said that the fact that you have to sign your words out with your hands means you have time to reflect on what you say before you say it. But on the other hand, it also means that what would normally just be an awkward silence becomes an insurmountable wall. I just blurt out something, anything, to try to dispel the tension I'm feeling right now if I could, but I can't. Ordinarily, I think that would be normal, would be to apologize and maybe leave, but right now I wonder if that is even applicable. I can't get past how guilty such an action would seem, like how we're just slinking away. Of course, it's not like I can just play it off like nothing happened, either. Why? Nothing really did happen. She just fell over, and you fell on top of her. Nothing did happen. That would just be insulting to both of us, so as much as I don't want to, I apologize quickly, so quickly I forget to sign it and then go back to my room. Sighing, I let myself fall backwards into bed. I wish I could just go to sleep right now, but I feel wide awake. I sit up when I hear the door closing and open my eyes to see Shizune sitting in the chair in front of me. She asks a question that goes right over my head. Due to my surprise, it's not a feeling I'm good at concealing, and I don't think it's what she intended. Whatever she was saying, she backs off and doesn't attempt to sign it again for a while. This is the first time I've been in your room. Shizune tenses her fingers and puts on an exaggerated attempt to make herself look embarrassed and modest at the thought. I can't appreciate the joke, just the fact that she's here has me feeling a bit scattered. Very funny, it isn't even my room, it's your guest room. Besides, you and Misha barged into my room once before. Seems as if she expected me to say more. I remember feeling very panicked when they burst into my room, afraid of what conclusions they would jump to, seeing the walls of pills lining the place. I don't think Shizune remembers, though. I have made you nervous. The way she says it so frantically factually stings me. Well, a lot of things make me nervous. You're one of them. Because you're overeager to always get people involved. Whatever you're doing, whether it's joining the student council or even taking a break, whether they want to or not. She signs almost at a crawl, her hands pausing mid-sentence far too much, causing the words to dissipate formlessly before I can even begin to try to understand them. I try not to let on that this is the case. Seems to work, but she looks a little sad, and I regret that I have nothing to say to snap her from the strangely wistful and distant expression she's wearing. All I can do is wait for her to come out of it. You're right, I want to drag everyone into my life, but lately I'm no longer sure if it's the right thing to do. I enjoyed you taking me to your favorite restaurant the other night. It's not like that was my favorite restaurant. I have others I like, and might even be able to rank them by number. Really. This chair is so hard, I want to sit on the bed. Motioning her to go ahead, I wait for her to get off the chair and take her place when she does, though I didn't intend for it to be, she finds it amusing. Close your eyes. Why? It's a surprise. I just had to humor her and close them. I can feel her leaning over me, and suddenly something soft and moist touches my lips. My body tenses up in surprise. Fortunately, not as awkward a reaction as I could have made. It was just a quick peck, and I almost think that that's the end of it, but then she kisses me again, more deeply this time. Her hands slide onto my shoulders, up to my neck, and then back down again, then across my shoulders and down my arms. I can feel the weight of her body on my legs, and the eroticism of the situation isn't lost on me. At this point, I'm ready to try and open my eyes just a crack, but as if expecting as she puts a finger on my eyelids. Seconds later, something ties my hands together at the wrist, and I panic, not knowing what to make of this. My first thought is to ask Shizune what she's thinking. Even though she can't hear me, I'm sure she gets the gist of it. She won't let go of my hands, tracing her fingers over them, from the lines of my palms over my knuckles into my wrist. Hey, what are you doing? What's this? Oh, the music. The music. I thought we were safe. Or course with my hands tied behind my back. I might as well be gagged. I think that's supposed to be of course. A part of me can't help but think this is what she intended. As if reading my thoughts, a mischievous expression lights up on her face, but her blushing doesn't fade. In fact, it only deepens when our eyes meet. How the heck did he get to the chair? Embarrassed, she leans deeper into our partial embrace, hiding her face by burying it in my neck and shoulder and neck. Her hair is soft and tickles me, and I let out a laugh, knowing that she won't hear me. Won't be offended. Alright, well, at least it knows when to stop, unlike certain other routes. Cuttlefish. Alright, game, come on, don't... Okay. Good, they still have their clothes on. Afterwards, I listen to the sound of my heartbeat slowing down until it reaches its normal rhythm, and I listen to the sound of Shizune's breathing as it does the same. Why did that open? Her glasses are slightly askew. This is the first time she isn't messing around with them in some way. I want to straighten them for her, but the second I try, I'm reminded that I can't. Shizune seems to have forgotten it as well. Instead of getting up, she presses herself against me in the chair to extend her reach. It's almost as if this is the only position she can think to untie my hands from. That is what I think as I feel her unbinding my wrists. However, she doesn't get off me. Her fingers gently stroke against mine, occasionally bending inwards to run over my palms. It's funny, but I feel more connected to Shizune through this simple act than before. Shizune stays pressed against me like this for some time. It's a little uncomfortable, but it makes me happy as if I could stay like this for hours. Alright, thank you, chapter. Thank you, Shizune Zero, for having some tact. Unlike some of the other ones. Alrighty, well, that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.